Do a quick sound check with everyone that's out there. If you all could put your hands up there on the left-hand side if you see the control button there, and if you can put your hand up. Oh, I see Alex Spencer's got his hand up, so I'm thinking y'all can hear me good. Amy, thank you so much. Andy Hoffman, thank you, thank you, thank you. Very excited to have you all this evening joining us with Ryan Wirch and Jim Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and put everyone on mute, and we'll get started here at the top of the hour. Thank you. Good evening, so bear with me one second. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on the Solavei update. We are so excited to be here with you today. We just literally got back from Dallas at our Solavei regional event, and it was phenomenal. The energy, passion, and excitement that our members are driving on a daily basis is just amazing. And thank you everyone that was there. We appreciate you, and it was just an amazing time to get to know you all even better. Just inspires us to be with you every day and to be alongside you in this journey. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. We have a lot of information to cover today, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on our founder and CEO, Mr. Ryan Wirch.
Maria, thank you so much, and thank all of you for joining us tonight, Sunday night, March the 17th. And as Maria just said, we have just literally landed back here in Seattle, Washington from 2 great days there for our Solavei Revolution Regional, the very first one there in Dallas, Texas, with a packed house of Solavei members, excited and frankly rocking the house. And there's no question that when you experience what happened there and the excitement, it was an exclamation mark of the momentum that we have had across the United States over the course of the last 6 months since we launched Solavei to the marketplace. It was a time where we had powerful speakers. We had guest speakers that were there. John Gray with an amazing message of motivation and inspiration, and how to take the very things that you have in your hands right now to impact not just your Solavei business and your Solavei experience, but also every aspect of your life. Great speaker in Steve Maluk, who was able to really take down and break down all of the key things that's happening right now with Solavei as we are building a multi-billion-dollar brand across the United States and ultimately around the world, as he went through a lot of the key empirical data to share with our members how we have, in fact, taken advantage of this platform to move it into the international markets, and the very things that we're doing to make the decisions that will ultimately impact positively all of our members, as well as the things that it takes to build a multi-billion-dollar brand, and how that will take Solavei and our social commerce platform to new heights as we introduce new goods and services, and actually took us through each of the key goods and services that we have on our roadmap, and that we have definitely in our line of sight in the coming months and years ahead. It was great hearing from our top members that were able to share not just the great things that's happened with them, but more importantly, taken the very things that they've learned and the things that helped them build tens of thousands of members in such a short period of time, and actually impart to each of the members that were there some of the key nuggets. In fact, I was getting emails today and seeing also some of the Facebook messages where our members left there with a renewed sense of this is their opportunity, not for a moment, not for a month, not for 3 months, but Solavei for them is for decades, that they're able to wrap their arms around it and ultimately see great success that will impact each area of their life. And our top members were able to impart that to our members that were there. The recognition that we're able to have and truly recognize those who are building Solavei across the United States, over 140,000 members now, and giving us an opportunity to recognize you, our top members. And that was one of the things that I take away from this past weekend as a highlight for myself, and I know that is shared by the others on the executive team, that being able to shake hands, being able to be able to hug the very ones that have truly impacted this business was an incredible thing. And you can't be in social today on Facebook or on Twitter and not get excited when you see the posts, when you see the pictures of all the excitement that took place this last weekend. It was great to be with all of our members. And so right now what I want to do is just touch on a couple of quick things, and I'm going to turn the call over. I have with me tonight here in the offices Jim Ryan, who's our head of product, is going to go through some of the new announcements around the compensation plan. Before we get to that, I want to go through a couple of things that we discussed this past weekend. You know, we have a key slogan in the company, which we talked about 2 months ago, which was March to 1 million members. And if you think about what we've done thus far, it is nothing short of amazing. Experts, some of the largest companies in technology and telecommunications have been astounded by how many people, how fast, have come into Solavei, becoming one of the fastest growing MVNOs in history in such a short period of time, and growing by leaps and bounds every single day. But it shouldn't surprise any of us. The reality is there's 300 million mobile phone users in the United States. As you've all heard me talk about before, 1% is 3 million, 1/3 of 1% is 1 million. And so when you think about, is that March to 1 million members realistic? Well, the answer is, with the momentum we have right now, it's not only realistic, it's just going to happen. And that's the exciting part about where we are together today in this company. And I see not just 1 million, but I see tens of millions around the world, because we have put ourselves in a position with the very first social commerce platform moving into the marketplace, enabling individuals, enabling people, enabling our members to be the ones that actually benefit from the billions of dollars in advertising that's been spent to date, moving that to the greatest voice, and that's you, that's our members. And so as we've gotten to this point as a company, 6 months after we've launched, it's very important for us to now see that we are now positioned to go to the next stage of growth, 140,000 plus members to 1 million members. And as we look at this, and what we've done with a social commerce platform is we've done something that hasn't been done before, because we've created ease within a system. And ultimately, when you think about life, or you think about things that have grown extremely quickly, it all happens because of simplicity. Many of you last summer, you saw how easy it was to share a video and get somebody interested into Solavei. Over the course of the last 3 weeks, with the socials that's been taking place across the United States, the simplicity of being able to have somebody just watch a social, be a part of a social, and then be able to engage, and themselves the next day after they've enrolled to have someone do the same, is something that's simple. And what we've been doing as a company is looking at every single area that we can actually simplify to create more momentum. We have tremendous momentum at this point, but we know it's now time to take it to an entirely new level. And so simplification creates momentum. The second thing is momentum creates scale. And what I mean by scale is that's scale in almost every area of business. That's scale for you as members and the size of your network. That's us in the scale and size of network that we have as far as members. It's also in infrastructure and all those things to help propagate all the momentum that you have. It's also scale in revenues. It's scale in fundamental financials. It's scale in every aspect of your business to ultimately create success in everything that we do. That is our focus. We are focused not on a company being here for a year or 2 years. We're a company focused on being a multi-generational company, and a brand that when you look back a decade from now, you'll be able to say, I was there. I was there in that first 140,000 members. 10 years from now, when we have tens of millions of members throughout the world. And one of the key things that we saw over the course of the last 6 months is we have so many great assets in this company. We have so many things that we have done that has never been done before. And for us, it was now taking a true accounting of all of those things and be able to position them all for the next stage momentum that we have as a company. And that was some of the excitement that we had around this in Dallas, Texas this past weekend. And what I can say, and I know what we all felt when we walked away from there, is everyone got a snapshot of they are part of something much bigger than themselves, all of us. This is much bigger than any one of us in this company, because the momentum that has now been created as a company is going to impact millions of people's lives. And so to go over the next stage of this, Jim Ryan, our head of products, will take you through it. Jim.
Thank you, Ryan. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. I've celebrated many a St. Patty's Day, being a full-blooded Irishman myself. I think this is the first time I've done it on a webinar, so thank you very much for that, Ryan. Lots of exciting news here and lots of very important information for you guys to understand. So let me take you through kind of where we're at and where we're going. So first, it's important to kind of take a look here. You know, we've been literally next week, we're going to celebrate our 6-month anniversary of our commercially delivered product on September 21st. That's pretty exciting news. And one of the things that I've been really focused on really for the better part of this year is doing a full analysis of everything that we've done, everything we've been doing, everything we need to do better as we continue to evolve and scale this business. And first, let's talk about for a second the kind of things we've accomplished. We've done a lot as an organization, as a membership, as a group that we should all be very proud of. First, we've launched and proven a completely new model for peer-to-peer distribution and value exchange in social commerce. We have over 140,000 members that have put their hand up and that have come to say, hey, Solavei is interesting. I want to participate at some level since we launched. That is an amazing, amazing feat, and it's proven a lot of people wrong that thought that this might not be possible. We've built a solid base of membership that is informed and motivated. It is amazing to me, having come from the mobile industry, where it was always a challenge to try to get our retail reps trained, always a challenge trying to make sure that that they knew the latest product, that they understood how to get people onboarded, and how they understood how to configure phones, and it was always pretty impossible. Well, the reality is we have the best trained organization right now, probably on the planet, as it relates to what we do and how we do mobile, which is an amazing, amazing feat, and you should all be very proud of yourselves for what you've been able to accomplish in that area. The next is we've also done a lot in the way of delivery as it relates to the platforms and processes and partnerships, all the things necessary to support this rapidly growing social commerce business. And all of that was a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work, and I think a lot of the biggest challenges are behind us now as we look at how we best and continue to scale this business over time. So let's also take a look here at what we've learned. We've learned a tremendous amount, and this is really a key inflection point for us as we try to really move to the next level of scale of this business. If we're going to go get to 1 million members and beyond, what are the kind of things we've learned, and how do we learn from that, and how do we advance from that? Well, we absolutely understand, and we've seen the critical factors associated with establishing viral growth, and the entry cost is probably the most critical, right? When you first go try to explain this type of service to someone, the concept of what it costs to get in to check this out is critical. And we realized that, and we realized some of the challenges when we first launched this product of the cost of entry of some of the elements that we were offering. We've also seen and accepted that, you know, trios are an amazingly powerful concept. Trios in collecting of 3 is an amazing thing to allow you to both bring together people, bring together friends and family, and then bring together value in a very important manner and in a very important set of assets. But the reality is it can also be challenging. The way trios are formed, the way they're structured, the way they're calculated, the level of visibility you have, or whether you have a trio and when you have a trio, has been a challenge. In addition to that, there's members that get lost in the network as people come in and out of the network, as people go and decide to opt out of the business, the people they brought in, what happens to those people? So we've accepted that there's some challenges in trios that we've got to deal with. We've also accepted that actually the way we've established rank structures really were too numerous and too close together. And a lot of things associated with how you calculate, administer rank have been a challenge. But really, we had people literally advancing through multiple ranks in very short periods of time. And that was really not what was intended. And then the last area, and probably in some ways the most important area here, is really what the only best way to describe it is a misalignment between compensation and the desired and intended behaviors of this business. You know, when we launched this 6 months ago, we really did not know exactly how the networks would grow, what people would focus on, how they would build their networks, and then therefore how compensation would evolve. And we went and consulted the best experts in the industry. We spent a lot of time analyzing the different possibilities of what would happen. And the practical reality is this business is growing faster, and networks are growing faster, and people are doing more, and they're doing it in very different ways than we expected, including, you know, we really presumed that a lot of people would be bringing in their friends and family, and therefore they would be growing their personal networks, and their personal networks would evolve over time. We kind of presumed in our compensation structure that would happen, but we didn't necessarily require it to happen that way. We just thought that's the way it would happen. And when we originally talked, those folks who have been around since the beginning, we talked about going and getting 12 people, and then they getting 12 people, and growing these kind of wide, large, deep networks over time. Well, the practical reality is that folks could actually come into our organization and actually begin to earn compensation without even earning their first trio, without even bringing in 3 people. You could actually qualify and start earning path pay. And that was an unintended consequence. That is not what we intended in building the business, and quite frankly, I don't think is necessarily equitable as it relates to input and output, right? How someone gets value for the value that they contribute. So we really didn't have enough emphasis within the plan on personal effort, on that personal network, on you bringing in your friends and family and then helping them bring in their friends and family and growing that network in a very logical and consistent manner. So these are all things that we need to learn from, and then we need to evolve with. And that's really what we're focused on doing. First, really reducing that cost of entry barrier. You know, a lot of these steps that we've already taken. If you think back, we had a $49 enrollment fee. That was a pretty high barrier to entry and significant revenue and margin into the business that, quite frankly, we accepted that was not going to be the way to scale this business. So we removed that fee. When we started out, we had a $29 fee to buy a SIM card. We have now significantly reduced that fee. It's $9 if you buy a SIM card, but it's actually free if you get a SIM card that is a SIM in hand that someone hands to you, or if you get it as part of a GSM Nation phone that we're actually pre-configuring for our service. So significantly different as it relates to SIM cards and SIM costs there. And finally, now with our partnership with GSM Nation, we've actually significantly reduced the cost of new phones as well. They have phones as low as $125 now on their site, and they're continuing to scout around for great bargain phones that can be entry level for our customers. I think the other key thing for us, which was a big change from our initial launch, is this move to indirect distribution for our new handsets. You know, we started out in the business of selling phones, and that proved to be a very complex business for us to support and for our members to support. However, it was also a business that, you know, earned us quite a bit of revenue. So that was a big change to the business model as we looked at getting out of that business and really supporting that on an indirect basis with our partner like GSM Nation that we've started our relationship with. So some major changes to the business, but significant reductions in that entry cost to help us reach scale and real viral growth inflection. So, but then there are additional enhancements really that need to happen and that are coming as we move forward. And these are actually, I think, really good news in terms of simplicity and scale. First, trios. So, like I said, trios can be a great thing, but also a complex thing. So we're going to make them a lot simpler. First, we're going to make it easy to understand and to qualify. So when someone comes in, they enroll, they activate their phone, 15 days later after activation, they are now qualified to be part of a trio. And that's it. Just as long as they're active, they're qualified. If they go and they miss a payment on their prepaid phone and it goes a few days and then they pay again, as soon as they pay, they're active, they're qualified. Very simple, very straightforward, and also a lot faster in terms of when they get qualified versus the old way. We've also made it a lot easier to count your trios. Very simple. On your PC1 level, just look at how many people are actually active in your network, divide it by 3. On your PC2 network, look how many people are in your network, divide it by 3. It doesn't matter who they're attached to anymore. Just look at your PC2 network at that level and divide it by 3. Even when you talk about your total network, look at your total network and divide it by 3. And the only really qualifier there is that if you are in a situation where your network becomes imbalanced and you have more than 40% of your network that's being driven from only one leg or one PC1 of your network, then actually you'll only get to qualify up to 40% of those people, even when you actually look at your totals. But assuming that your network is logically structured and you have reasonable growth throughout each one of your legs, then every single person in your network will qualify, and you just divide it by 3. It's very simple, very logical. And kind of if you look at it as a set of pictures, here in the old world, right, you'd get your trio would be the 3 people connected to you. However, if you had a couple people that one guy had signed up, they wouldn't count for anything. If you had a couple people someone else had signed up, but that person decided to drop out, those people were stranded. Well, now the way it's going to work is that the PC1 people you count up, the PC2 people you count up, and then every one of those people counts. One of our key mottos, everybody counts. So now you'll be able to count all those people. And I think you'll see a lot of your productivity will get rewarded more quickly, rewarded more logically. And you'll be able to understand it more easily. And then even when you go to total network, much simpler logic, much simpler math. A lot easier for you to support it in terms of understanding what's happening in your business, and a lot easier for us to be able to explain it for new people coming into the business. This is very, very simple. And in terms of evolving from where we were, which is already a relatively simple plan, this is extremely simple. This is a 3-minute conversation with someone to explain compensation now, and you're done. It is just that easy. And that was our intent, to really start to scale this business. The other key changes that we're looking to make now as necessary is a couple of things that are important for us to be able to now actually adjust for the changes in revenue and margin that we've seen out there, adjust for the changes in how we're accounting for trios and how we think value now will get added up across these networks, and really prepare ourselves for the scale and the value exchange that will happen when you have millions of members within this network based upon what we've seen how these networks are growing. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're also going to go and change how we pay compensation. Very simply, at the end of every month, you take a snapshot of the activity in your network based on the way I just described it, and then on the 12th of the following month, you're going to get a paycheck. Simple, easy. This way you can go and train your people, you can train yourself, understand how you go and work to your month end, make sure you get people that are active and that they pay their bills so that they appear as active by the end of the month, and then that's what you get paid for. It's going to be very straightforward. Within 5 minutes of going into my Solavei, you should know exactly what's going on and move on with your day. You don't have to call customer care. You don't have to be confused. It is what it is, and it's simple. We're also going to simplify ranks. We're going to go from what has been a 15-level rank system down to a 6-level rank system. This way, every rank is truly valuable, truly appreciated, and easily understood. And I'll take you through some details on that in a moment. The last thing, we're putting some real focus back on personal activity, making sure that when you come into the business and you work in the business, those people who are really doing the work, who are going and talking about Solavei every day, who are sharing Solavei, who are bringing in new members, that they absolutely share in the bulk of the rewards of that we're benefiting here in value creation. One of the key changes to that is we're actually going to make it a requirement that you've got to get your first trio before you qualify in the commission plan. That no one's going to be able to earn any commission until you at least get that first trio. The second thing is we're increasing the personal network component of rank advancement, where previously you actually could just bring in a few folks and then start moving up the chain as it relates to rank advancement. We're now going to say, look, you should be doing a lot more work, and you should be rewarded and valued for the work that you do for those people who do that work. And you'll see that in the new rank structure as well that I'll take you through in a moment. So then there's the remaining pieces of how we kind of cover all this and adjust the way that value is exchanged across the business to make sure that we are healthy and prepared for the type of scale that we're talking about. So there's a couple of final things that are important here. One, starting as of midnight tomorrow, so that will be 12:01 a.m. on the 19th of this month, we are actually going to end the fast action bonus. So anyone who has a fast action bonus at this point in time will continue to have that. Anyone who signs up tomorrow will continue to have their FAB. But anyone beyond tomorrow that signs up will no longer have a fast action bonus as part of their compensation. What we found is that, quite frankly, it wasn't actually driving increased behavior like we thought. We found a better way now to account for trios where we can pay you more quickly for your trio bonus and your ongoing trio pay, which is really the value here in the annuity, and that the fast action bonus probably does more to confuse people than to add value and momentum into this business. So we're going to do away with it. The second thing we're going to do away with is the path pay bonus. Quite frankly, that was really just a double pay mechanism, which we thought would be something as an incentive to help get people to those levels. But quite frankly, it's just double paying you for the first month that you're in the plan, and we really just need to support the annuity value of that path structure. So that will be discontinued as well. We will make the last path payments, the path bonus payments, will be calculated based upon what happens at the end of this month, and the final payment will happen on the 12th of next month for path pay bonus. And the last area is in the area of trio pay, really to provide a distinction and an appreciation of the relevant and relative value of bringing in someone yourself and then helping and supporting someone else bringing in someone into the business. So we are absolutely going to be continuing our $20 pay for every 3 people you sign up into this business. It is the absolute core tenet and pillar of this business. Get 3 and it's free. That's not going anywhere. That is what this business is all about. So it's $20 for every 3 people you bring into this business, and will continue to be so. If you look then at the second level, though, at PC2, starting on April 16th, we are going to start compensating at PC2 level at $10. So it's $20 for your PC1s and $10 for your PC2s. But keep in mind, your PC2s now are calculated differently. So you should, at the end of the day, have more trios as a result of this new calculation at that level. They will just now be paid at $10 instead of $20 for each one of those. Okay, so now the last areas to discuss are the areas of what we're doing in PATH. So like I said, there's now down to 6 levels in PATH. And the first 2 levels really are a focus for when someone really comes into the business and passes the place where they've now gotten 3 trios and they're now getting their mobile service for free. Now what, right? So 3 and it's free when you first get in. Now what? Now I want to move up in the business. I want to make a little bit more money. I want to advance in this business and take it a little more serious. Well, the next level you go to is social partner. Social partner, you need to get 1 more personal trio yourself, a PC1 trio, and then you need to go get across your personal network a total of 10 trios. So you'll see for social partner and social thousandaire, it is only focused on your personal network. There's no need for total network. There's no need to focus on total network and to have visibility to that and to have confusion about that. There's no need to think about 40% rules. It's just your work and the work of the people you bring into the business. We've actually, if you look at it on a total basis, at the $250 level, we have, hold on one second here. Maria's touching my computer. Don't touch my computer, Maria. At the $250 level, that would actually, and beforehand, that required 12 total trios. Now it's only 10 total trios, but it is within your personal network. At the thousandaire level, it used to be 20 total trios. Now it's only 18 total trios, but it is, again, within your personal network. And if you're out there and you're a thousandaire today, and you don't, as of yet, have 18 trios in your personal network, the way you got to look at this is really your efforts and the efforts of the people you bring into the business. You need to go and you need to get 15 people into this business. And those 15 people need to be able to produce enough for 18 trios in total, right? And that is a total amount. It's PC1 plus PC2. So it's 18 trios. And relatively speaking, because of the way we add these things up, right, you're talking about 45 people, right? No, 40, 18 times 3. 40. Help me out. I haven't slept in 3 weeks.
54.
54 people. Thank you very much for the math help. But it really is that many people because you're not going to have breakage. You're not going to have separation. You're not going to have to worry about people getting stranded, right? And it's not 54. Is it? It's 54. Yes, it is 54. We are mathematicians have calculated. It's 54. It's 18 trios. Okay. Now, you move beyond that. Now you're into your leadership area. This is the point in time where you've now gone beyond thousandaire, and now you continue to advance in this business. Now, two key things I want you to focus on. One, we have increased the personal element of these structures and these ranks. 2, we've increased the total network component. And there's really 2 ways to look at that. One, we absolutely do want to continue to reinforce the personal effort and value creation of members in this business and continuing to grow membership in this business. But look at this, it's still a pretty reasonable number. PC1 trios, you go from getting it for free, which is 3 trios, and then moving up through your first 2 ranks, and then you just got to continue to bring people into the business. Same thing as it relates to your PC1 and PC2. Just bring in people who are committed to the business, who intend to bring in people to the business, and you'll find that actually over time that's a pretty relatively simple portion of this plan. Now the last portion of the plan relates to the total network. And in the total network, you'll see these numbers have gone up. But again, keep in mind the way that we calculate trios has become much easier, and therefore you should actually have more in aggregate than you would have otherwise. Okay? Now, the last component to this is the 40% rule does apply in this area. And you should keep that in mind as you're building the business, that you should build it as uniformly as possible, because if you have one leg that grows much more significantly than the others, then you're going to have to then continue to complement that with other growth in the business. But assuming it's all fairly evenly grown, then everyone will count within even that total network level. Now, one final thing to take you through here, and then Ryan's going to tell you about this additional area of value creation that will happen at the leadership level, which I've got covered up here under bonus. But let me just kind of make sure that you understand kind of the timing of some of this stuff. So you will see here your final view of rank advancement based upon the old compensation plan, that on the end of this month here, you'll kind of look at your business and look at your network at that point, and that'll be your final rank that you'll get underneath the old plan. Then when we actually issue path pay and then also bonus pay, that'll happen on the 12th of April, then that will be based upon that old rank and based upon final payment of those path bonuses. Then on May 12th, what will happen is that you are going to get paid the same amount that you got paid on your last path pay that you got on April 12th, if your new earnings have not yet reached or exceeded those levels. So it makes sure that you have what amounts to the better part of 2 months here to go get yourself ready. Because when you look at this, that it'll really be until June 12th. So the end of your May productivity is the first time that we're going to look at the new network under the new compensation and pay you accordingly. So if you think about between now and then, you have effectively about 1/3 of the time that we have completely been in commercial business here to go, either whether you need to go get some more personal trios, you got to go build up a few extra trios in your personal network, or you got to go continue to grow the size and total scale of your total network. All of that is very much kind of within the realm of the kind of things you can be focused on and can go out and do. The key point here being that you're going to have some time to do that, and that we absolutely want to appreciate the value you've created already and the value you will create, and also appreciate that this is a new plan. So this is going to take some time for you to figure it out and then go focus on it. The good news being, and I think ultimately the key thing to keep in mind here, and then I'll hand it back to Ryan for the last portion of this new compensation plan, is that this is really about kind of looking beyond this and saying, look, when I now explain this to someone coming into the business, is this easier to explain? Which I think it absolutely is. When I go and try to manage my business every day and see what's going on in my business, to know where I'm at and to know what I need to do to succeed, is that easier for me to do? Absolutely it is. And therefore, if you believe that this business is going to continue to grow, if you see a vision for how we're going to get to 1 million members, then to be able to go and do what's necessary to continue to advance within this structure absolutely is within, with the realm of you being able to go accomplish it. And that's, I think, the key thing, is just get your heads around where we're at, where we need to go, understand what the new plan is all about, and understand exactly what you need to do to go accomplish your own objectives and what you want to get out of this business, and then get to the work. And with that, I will hand it back over to Ryan.
Jim, thank you.
Oh, actually, you know what? Let me do this, because I added this. Let me explain this, because I realized when we took this to some people over the past few days, they were kind of like, well, where am I at? So let me go explain to you a couple things on how you go into our existing My Solavei structure and have a view of where you're at. Now, all this is going to change when we launch the new commission plan next month. You'll have a lot better visibility. It'll be simple and easy for you to go in and see where you're at. But looking even at the old structure, let me very quickly explain to you what you can do to say, so what does this mean for me today? If you go into My Solavei right now, and you go into your network tab, you'll see at the top there your connectivity summary slide, the chart that's at the top that shows you how many connections you have. Well, if you look at that, at your PC1 and PC2 and extended connections, that is a pretty good indicator. However, there's some pluses and minuses you need to factor into those numbers. First, that counts all the active members you've got, the service members and the social members that you've got. That's great, whether those are activated and those are trio eligible. It doesn't count the people who are not yet in. So it doesn't count those people who have not yet activated. So if they've got a red phone still sitting by their information when you go drill down in your personal network, they're not in there, and you'll have to figure whether they're in there or not, okay? And then the second thing is it doesn't count people who are well, actually, it does count those people. So what you're going to need to do, I'll take you through this. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to subtract some numbers to what you got. So you got your personal connections, and then you're going to have to subtract people who are not yet activated and subtract people who are social members without service. And let me show you what I mean by that. If you go into your personal network view, you'll see your red phones. Now, your red phones are those people who have not yet activated. Now, some of those people might just be in the process of activating. Other people might not activate. Right? We've had some folks who were they came in, they enrolled, and for some reason they didn't activate. Well, you'll have to subtract that from your total number. So in this case, you've got 77 personal connections. Of those 77, a certain number of those connections are actually not activated. A certain number of those connections are social members without service. So in this instance, actually, you'd deduct the number here, and you'd end up with 71 personal connections, level 1, divide that by 3, and that would be your total trios here in this new structure. The same thing applies when you look at your PC2. And the way you get to your PC2 is you need to get, one, you start at your top level, which is the number that you see within your chart. And then you go within every one of your PC1s, you'll see these little lines here. And hopefully everyone knows this already, but in case you don't, this will be an epiphany moment for you. In everyone's detail, they see this thing that says PC1 equals. Well, what that shows is their PC1 connections. If you click on that, it opens up a window which shows you their PC1 connections. You just need to go in there and carry out the same exercise. Look and see who hasn't connected yet, who hasn't activated. Those are the red phones. Look at anyone who might be a social member without service, and you'll need to deduct those numbers from the total. Here you've got 22 connections, but when you go and deduct those numbers, you end up with a total now of 15 connections. Divide that by 3, and that's where you end up with your total amount. Now, when you get into your total network, it's the same logic. However, the content's a little different, especially for folks who have very large networks. We now have a view where we provide you a list view instead of those picture views, because we can get more content and see it more quickly. But you're going to look at the same things. You'll see one column, which is the mobile service activation line, and that will show you exactly whether someone is connected or not, whether they've activated the phone. Everyone who has an N, you're going to have to deduct that number. And there's actually, the great part is there's a sorting feature there that you can sort by everyone who's not yet activated. You need to deduct that from your total. Or get on the phone and make sure those people get activated, right? But anyone who doesn't activate is not going to get ultimately qualified in the trio. Not under the old plan or the new plan, by the way. And the last part is anyone who's an SMO. So you want to take them off the number as well. But once you do that, provided that you don't have any issues with the 40% rule, which you can always check within your rank tab, then you can just take the number and divide it by 3. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. It is pretty straightforward, and once you kind of look at this, and we're going to keep this recorded so you can look back on it, in the next few weeks you should be able to kind of look at where you're at and get focused on where you're going. And like I said, all this will be delivered in a new release of the My Solavei solution, which will give you better and more simpler access to all this information.
What you're saying, Jim, is the new My Solavei, their network view, it's going to be extremely simple. How many people, how many active do I have on PC1? How many active do I have on PC2? Very easily to see how many trios then I have, because
Absolutely.
It's across.
And it'll actually be in the box right at the top, so you can just go in and you'll just see the summary, and that'll be what it'll be.
Yeah, and so your whole network then, it's the same thing. You're able to see how many active members I have in my network, one simple view, not having to think about what trios are broken, which ones are lost. You're able to see every member that you've got,
Yep.
who's active, and be able to divide by 3.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be done for you. Cool.
That's great.
And that's all I got.
Jim, thank you so much. And all of you, thank you for staying with us here on the call. I know until we have the lines are packed tonight, there's so much I know that you're wanting to hear and get caught up. Many of you who have had members, had those who you're connected to within your own networks that were in Dallas. We've definitely been seeing the posts throughout the day of our members and their excitement from what happened at the event. But now what I want to do is transition to something that brings me great excitement, and then frankly it's something that I had hoped for from the very beginning of Solavei, from the moment that we founded the company. And what Jim just went through is all of the building blocks from a compensation perspective to actually move us into the next stage of growth. First of all, what I want to underscore of everything that's been done here, and there's no way in 10 minutes or 15 minutes and definitely just going through a series of slides when so many of you have spent 1, 2, 3, 4 months understanding the compensation plan. The reality is what we've now done is created a compensation plan, I would say enhance the compensation plan, to build off of our premise. And since day one, since the very first presentation that I did last year, the very first video that was done, I said, we will always pay 50% of every dollar of gross profit. The reality is this network grew so fast and did so much more than any of the, quote, experts that's been a part of designing some of the largest multi-billion-dollar compensation plans for companies could have ever imagined. How many people who have come into Solavei and enrolled someone was literally 5 times the number in percentage that they originally had thought. And that's just because of the sheer nature of what we have. It's $49 a month unlimited, text, data, voice, 4G nationwide, no enrollment fee. And so the ease and lack of barrier of entry makes it easy for people to do that. And thus far, we've literally been paying out this last compensation run. We paid out 88% of gross profit through our compensation plan. Our commitment is to pay 50% of every dollar of gross profit. This is going to do that. More importantly, this is creating simplicity, where you don't have to try to figure out what do I have happening within my network. It's a divide by 3. It's transparent. What you're able to do now is actually have transparency into the plan and not wonder, why in the world do I have 2 or 10 or 20 people in my network that I'm not able to count because they happen to be inside of a, quote, broken trio. This was about taking breakage out of the plan, because I want our plan to have complete transparency, because each one of our members are our partners. Each one of our members is why we are every day growing Solavei to impact millions of people's lives. And for us, it's about being able to have a compensation plan that truly rewards all of the efforts that our members are putting in on a daily basis. Now, Jim only went through one part of this. And, my career has been spent in, technology and telecommunications industry. The last company that I founded, it was a company that we were able to grow, create over $1 billion in value. And, I asked a question to our members in Dallas. I said, how many of you have been a part of a company like a Google or a Facebook or an Amazon or an eBay, a large company that, because you were an employee of that company and you had shares in that company, when that company went public or that company had such profitability that it paid a dividend, that you saw a tremendous return for yourself? What was interesting, with all of our members that were there, we had only 2 members. You saw the picture of how many members that we had there in Dallas. Only 2 people had ever been a part of that event. One of the members that actually raised their hand was somebody that happened to in my last company. He had been working as an accountant before he came to work for Matricity. Came to work for a salary, just like many of you do today with your jobs. That's what I call income. Every day you're working hard to be able to pay your bills, to take care of your monthly budget. But because he was a part of something much bigger than himself, and because he had shares inside of the last company, when Motricity, my last company, went public, he became a multimillionaire. And you know, I happen to live, all of us sitting here today in the offices, we live in a place which called, you know, many of them call the, you know, Microsoft millionaires. You know, we're literally thousands of people. When Microsoft went public, engineers who were making $85,000, you know, assistants and a secretary who happened to have shares, changed their life forever because they happened to have shares in a company that was actually valued at an incredibly high value. And I know what we're creating here as a company is a company that's going to have tremendous success. When you think about, you know, just from a revenue standpoint as a company, as we grow from where we are today to 1 million members, that's a $600+ million revenue company. You know, we have, you know, to date, over $30 million to date has been invested in Solavei, because not just to invest it for it to sit there, but for it to actually create a tremendous return on investment. And all of us that are here in the corporate offices, you know, myself obviously as a founder and the executive team, all have, you know, great ownership in this company. And what we want to be able to see is it's not just about what we're doing, and it's not just about our members having on their efforts, their trio pay, their path pay, which is what I call income. We want to give those that are helping build the largest networks, those that are helping build this company, those that are helping actually impact the vision of impacting millions of people's lives, the opportunity to feel as we do every day as owners in this company. And so effective on May 1st, we are moving forward now to an equity program where our leading members will actually obtain value and share value in Solavei. Those that obtain the rank of Social Connector will receive 2,500 shares in Solavei. What I encourage you to do is get with one of the members that were attending in Dallas, or those who are listening tonight. I encourage you to be in Orlando, and we'll go through a lot of this in great detail at the Orlando Revolution Regional, where I went through in great detail value creation, what happens in the public market environment, what happens when companies create great share value. And you know, you can speak to some of those who in fact walked across the stage and received their share certificates when they walked across the stage, and what that meant to them. Because our members, when they are given shares in Solavei, are going to see, just like I do every day, a feeling of great return for the efforts you're putting in. And it's not just about what you do. By having shares in Solavei, you're actually getting the benefit of the overall growth of the whole. When somebody comes to Social Networker and obtains that rank, you receive another 5,000 shares, cumulative 7,500 shares. Social Director, 10,000 shares, a total of 17,500. Social Executive, 20,000 shares, a total of 37,500 shares for obtaining that rank. This is about creating a multi-generational company. And a company, as we continue to experience momentum that we already have, as we become one of the fastest growing, one of the largest companies that has ever been able to bring together value and ultimately profitability between people, the opportunity for our members to see great returns themselves. This all speaks to the incredible momentum we have already to date. When you step back and you just think, it was 6 months ago when we started. Today, with over 140,000 members across the United States, this is our next stage of growth. collectively over 140,000 people, all now moving to the new level of growth toward 1 million members. This is a company that we're all proud of. This is a company that is about impacting millions of people's lives. You are the ones that are actually making that happen on a daily basis. It all goes down to 3 simple things that we say every day. Get in, get social, and get free. Having a compensation plan that actually supports the simplicity of that, being able to build upon that first trio to that third trio of getting free mobile service. Over $6.5 million already paid to date. Over 10,000 people across the United States today seeing impact with that purple pay card. And today, looking at Facebook and how many people are paying for their food at restaurants. People this weekend using their purple pay card to check into the hotel where they were this weekend because of what Solavei has already done for them. A lot of this has been built over the last 3 weeks when we look at the momentum that's taken place around the socials. I've loved doing it every single night through the course of the week. And we had a flood of members saying, please don't stop. Please keep them going. So beginning this coming Tuesday night, Tuesdays and Thursdays through the month of March, we're going to be having 2 socials a night. And we have had just a flood that has come in since we announced this just this weekend from our members wanting to be one of the ones chosen in the live social for themselves. 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. Pacific. This is going to help those that are in the East Coast that would love to have a social at 7:30. Those that are on the West Coast, that 6:30 is a great time for them to start. 2 times, Tuesday night and Thursday night, beginning this week. And I'm excited to be a part of it and deliver the enthusiasm and the momentum that has taken place with Solavei. We have definitely positioned ourselves for growth, and the best is in front of us. And ultimately, it's a simplification of what we've created, the product, the service that we have, $49 a month unlimited, text, data, voice, 4G nationwide, a platform that enables our members to easily share it, a compensation plan that is built on transparency, divide by 3, and get paid for all that you're doing. We started with mobile, but that was just the beginning. This coming June, social commerce becomes a reality, and I'm extremely excited to be able to say that we have some of the greatest, some of the largest, some of the very best brands in the market in the United States that have said yes to wanting to be a part of Solavei and what we're doing with Solavei Retail. We unveiled a lot of partners this past weekend at the Solavei Revolution Regional in Dallas. We will unveil even more at the Solavei Revolution Regional in Orlando, Florida on April 26th and 27th. I know I've seen a lot of the screen captures that people were posting from what we unveiled in Dallas, and there'll even be more in Orlando. And I look forward to all of you being there. It will be a packed house in Orlando, Florida. We already, people that were in Dallas, Texas that had said, you know, I wouldn't even have thought about going to Orlando because we were here. But after this, I'm now going to be in Orlando myself. We have people saying they're actually from Texas going to be getting carfuls and busfuls of people over to Florida to be able to be at that event. It is going to be exciting, and I know some that actually came from Florida that were there at the Dallas Revolution Regional said they are going to themselves pack the house. There'll be so much that we're going to share in Orlando. I look forward to being able to deliver all of that along with the executive team and our top members with everyone who is there and go through a lot of this in great detail when we're all together here in a couple weeks. This is all about the next stage of growth. This is all about a march to 1 million. And to Jim's point earlier, it's only 6 months that we've been even in existence as a company since we've gone live. In the course of the next 2 months is great opportunity for everyone that's a part of Solavei to be able to realize your full potential within the compensation plan that we have. Another thing we have done on top of this is we announced yesterday that we have additional qualifications that we've made available to all of our current thousandaires, our current social directors, our social networkers, our social executives, to be able to qualify for the Hawaii trip and for the cruise to thousandaire. It's going to be a great time together. That'll actually be posted tomorrow. You'll be able to see this in my Solavei. Tomorrow you'll be able to see how you can qualify for the cruise to thousandaire yourself. If you today are a social connector 3, or social thousandaire, a social connector, social networker, social director, and social executive. It's going to be a great time together. We've in fact had the cruise line get hundreds more rooms because we know how many more of our members are going to be on the cruise with us. It's going to be a great time. I thank all of you for being a part of this tonight. I look forward to what we have in front of us. We together are impacting millions of people's lives. It's just the beginning. 5 billion mobile phone users in the world, 300 million here in the United States. We have 140,000 today. 1 million is our next mile marker, and I look forward to doing it with you. God bless and have a great week. We'll see you on Tuesday night at the Solavei Social.